This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded February 19th, 2012. Episode 83, Aggravating, Aggersia, Agiotage.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Dave.
We screwed up again?
Oh, on multiple fronts. we should announce Bunny Huang is not here right now. He's nowhere to be seen. Yeah, I got that completely wrong last week.
Well, you were hungover from drinking live on the show,
yeah.
And B, you were only off the plane for a couple of hours.
Yeah, that's probably a bigger thing. But yeah, Bunny's next week. Yeah, hopefully. Well, we got to check his schedule still, but like he's scheduled, but we got to make sure. We have to verify. That's the main thing. So,
and it's Monday, right?
It is Monday. Yeah, it'll be your Monday.
My Monday, not
and
Tuesday. I got up this morning. Not a care in the world. It was going to be MakerBot Monday. It was going to be the MakerBot build again.
That.
And
MakerBot Monday.
MakerBot Monday. Yeah, it sounds like a song.
Mm-hmm.
Manic Monday. Yeah. Manic MakerBot Monday.
Just another MakerBot Monday.
That could be the name of the show. Manic MakerBot Monday.
There you go.
All right.
Boom. All right.
All
right, we're doing better already.
And I had just completely forgot that we had decided to shift the show to Monday my time, and because it was Tuesday the last 2 weeks because we had Jeff on because you were away, so we slipped back to Tuesday, and I just got into the Tuesday mode again.
Yep.
I think we'd only done the Monday once, hadn't we, or something? And then
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and
it doesn't affect our listeners. They listen when they want to.
Yep.
The magic of podcasting.
So I didn't feel so bad because you screwed the pooch too. So
exactly.
It's always wonderful.
Yeah.
Just like at a company, when everyone's at fault, no one's at fault.
Yeah, you just all kind of laugh about it, go out for beers after work, and everything's good.
Yeah.
Then you all get fired.
The $20 million project's down the toilet, but who cares? Because no one's at fault, right? I love it.
Who's at fault there? Management for not planning better.
Exactly. That's the ticket.
Oh, yeah, that one always works, right?
Right. Yeah, they're going to blame themselves.
Yeah,
sure.
Right? Sure, yeah. Well, speaking of poor planning, how's your MakerBot build going?
If you've seen the 5 hours worth of live...
I started watching that when you had it live last week, and man, that was boring.
Boring is bad shit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty boring.
Building a MakerBot is not...
You should do a TV show about that. Building a MakerBot. It'd be like, do you ever see the movie The Truman Show with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Where it's just like his life. Yeah, right. That's so boring.
Yeah, I know. Inside the dome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but at least he's unaware of it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, no, his life is exciting. It's just exciting to everyone else because everyone else is in on the joke. Maybe everyone else is in on the joke, laughing at us because we're trying to build this bloody thing. Right?
Yeah, MakerBot's actually watching you guys build it, and they're like, wait till they find out we didn't include that screw.
Screw right at the end, yeah.
Just that one little tiny screw.
Oh, man, we thought that had happened on a couple of occasions because we couldn't find the damn things. We spent like half an hour looking for one screw.
Yeah, that's tough.
Literally. It's just, and I don't know.
So you're still pretty negative on the whole kit thing, huh?
Oh, yeah, it is very time-consuming, and I'm sure it's very satisfying at the end when you actually see it, actually print out a little 3D bunny rabbit or something, but gee, it's tough. We got we got 2 sub-assemblies built. I'm not sure how many are to go, but these are just like, we did the Y sub-assembly, the Z, and I don't know, I think we're up to the X, or maybe we did the X, but yeah. So hopefully we can actually start assembling the big frame thing today. So that's
that's always the key. You always feel like that's the most accomplished thing, but usually it's just psychological, right? That's not the hard part.
No, we've just got the build platform, the heated build platform, which was supposed to take 40 minutes, and then it actually took 2 hours. And
did you have to do any soldering or anything?
Not yet. There will be some soldering today. Yes, there's the one board in there which is a kit of parts. I'm not sure why, because all the other boards are assembled and tested and, stepper motor. Oh, that's right, because it's through hole. Yeah, I think I did this on the unboxing because, anything SMD they didn't, but there's this one through hole board that came as just a bag of bits. So,
well, at least you know how to do that.
Yeah.
And you can practice your speed. Did you hear about the Sparkfuns doing their little speed soldering contest?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have. Yeah, they're having. It's like at some bar. They're having like a speed soldering contest. So if people don't know about that, I'll pump a link in there. But yeah, it's a cool idea. I like it. Okay.
Is it SMD or through hole?
I think both. I think they're doing kits and.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to use mechanical advantage tools like a big proper ball tilt PCB
like
stand? Yeah. Well, more than the Panavice. Really fancy one that actually.
I don't know. They should have like different divisions.
Right.
I'm telling you, man, new Olympic sport right here.
Right. The old farts like me who don't use these fancy Panavice things, we just put the board flat on the bench, right, and flip it over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I do it too. Torque the leads a little bit so the parts stay in there.
Yeah, exactly. And then and then just flip it over on its back.
They should have like a no flux division.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And there's an SMD toaster reflow oven, version.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, you have to be modern, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. You could have you could have a lot of different versions. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd participate because I'm pretty slow. Right. But I bet there's some technicians out there that are just killer. So.
Is this like a live thing where people get together like in a hackerspace somewhere, or can you submit a video?
No, it's at a bar. This is like a live event out in Colorado.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so if people live in Colorado, they can go out there. And one of my former coworkers lives out there now, and he was challenging me to go out there, but I can't do it time wise. But
right.
I guess people could have their own at home.
How far is Colorado from you? That's a fair hike.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like a 3-hour flight. So
yeah. Well, you got to hop on a plane just to go to Colorado just to participate.
Just to solder? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. No, give it a miss. Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Speaking of which, you're flying out tomorrow,
Yeah, I'm going out tomorrow, yeah.
Can you tell us about that? Because this is a work thing.
It is a work thing.
Maybe you can tell us in general.
Yeah, I think so. It's just it's this manufacturer of a power component that I work on, and they're just like, well, we're done. We're not making this anymore, and we're closing up shop.
Power components, as in a power supply?
Like line power.
Okay, so a main switching power. It's a custom switching supply for you, is it?
Yeah, something like that.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and so, they're like, well, we're going away.
Yep.
And I'm sure people
they're actually
listening,
shutting down?
Yeah, they're just closing the business. I'm not sure. I don't know any of the. I didn't feel like it was a proper, to ask why. There could be personal things or
how big's the company?
I don't know.
Obviously, it isn't a public company, right? It's a private
it's
privately
small,
owned.
but it's small.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, and but it's going away, and so I have to do a knowledge transfer, which I'm sure some of our listeners have had to do before.
Oh yeah,
maybe
I've been
you
there.
have even. You have?
I've been all the way to Germany to do a technology transfer. I've been
really,
I've been 30 hours on a plane to.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
How did it work? I mean, did it work? Am I wasting my time here?
Well, it kind of worked. Yeah, in the end, it was ultimately a waste of time, really, because the company didn't do anything with it. We may as well do because the company wasn't shutting down. We just decided that we would buy the rights. The company had designed this data recorder, seismic data recorder product thing, and we'd been buying it from them, and we decided, well, we're a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation. We shouldn't be doing that. We need to own the rights to this. We want to modify it, and we've got big plans to. So we'll buy the rights to it, non-exclusive rights, and we can then. Modify it ourselves, and 3 years later, we were still making it exactly the same as what we did when we bought it from them.
Yeah,
so no changes at all.
And there's something to be said for keeping that out there, like having someone else make it for you. It's always more expensive.
Yeah, it's easier
when you don't have to swap out components or deal with all those little things. Sometimes it is worth the money.
I know. Well, I went to the trouble to, when we got back, everyone was keen, right? The first job for me when I got back was to transfer all of the PCB design, schematic and PCB, from some German package, some package they were using into our, Altium package. So I went to all the effort to redo the whole design. It was, 5 boards or something, 6 boards. And
then it's really yours.
But then they said, just to make sure, let's do it exactly identical to start with. Let's make no changes. Let's not bite off more than we can chew. And then 3 years later, we're still manufacturing that same identical unit.
That's always tough, too, when you're like trying to do like the exact same thing, because there is that paralysis. It's like, don't change that. I mean, you can't change a spec. There's always different levels of what you can change.
Yep.
The highest level being like, don't change the packaging, right? But eventually, like, I don't know. I just think it's cheaper just to keep buying it from people.
Yeah, I know. So,
but I don't have that option.
Right. Well, they are going out of business, so that's a different thing entirely. So, yep.
Yeah. So basically, I'm the messenger. I'm the guy that's shuttling data between that company and a new manufacturer. And we're still going to do third party. And so I'll be out in Arizona.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
For how long?
2 days.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
How far is Arizona from Cleveland?
Probably about 7 hours of travel time with like layovers and everything.
Oh, okay.
I'm really mad. Continental used to be like a hub in Cleveland, and they just merged with United, so they're no longer
right.
It's harder to get flights. It's not bankrupt. It's just harder to get flights, and that's a significant cost. Like I always tell people, I'm willing to pay more for faster flights. I don't travel that much, but it's
I can't believe it's the FedEx model, right? Everyone said FedEx would not work, right? What the hell does anyone want to have a package delivered in 24 hours for? That business will fail. They had a hard time getting funding for that because nobody believed in it. And,
really?
And sure enough, how huge are FedEx, right? They own more planes than Continental.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's just
the logistics in general are crazy.
Yeah.
So.
People will pay more for good stuff.
Good stuff fast.
Yeah, fast, it's good service, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's true. It's true.
I know. So I can't see why you can't survive on a, having a business model like that, even as an airline. Strange. Maybe people take it for granted that there's always been so many flights by so many different carriers that, we don't need to pay a premium for a good one.
Yeah.
We'll get the penny pinchers at the company will get the cheapest possible flight they can, and
yeah. I mean, well, it's the same thing for circuit boards too. I mean, you'll pay
you pay a premium to get it in 24 hours.
Yeah,
huge.
That's the worst when you pay it and then you're like, I guess we could have waited.
Could have waited. Yeah, we were experts.
I did this too fast. I messed it up.
And we would pay, $2,000-$3,000 to get a board turned in 24 hours because the boss wanted it to play with on the weekend. So, man, and it was just pissed down the drain.
Yeah, that's the worst when it's just there. It's just fast because it feels like you need to be fast.
Yeah, and you really don't because it's been there, done that.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing about the annoying thing about these technology transfer things I found is that I went over there, we're transferring technology too. There's a lot of technology inside this product, like how the algorithms work. There was lots of fancy, this was a leading edge kind of product, handcrafted magic smoke kind of product, and I spent a couple of weeks there learning all about it and everything from the guy who designed it. And I went back. I was tasked to write a report about it all and which ones are important we need to learn about. And I had to transfer the technology to everyone else because that's the idea, right? Transfer the technology from one company to another and had to train people.
Get the photocopy effect where it's never quite as good, right?
And nobody cared. I said, we've got to do this. It's urgent. I had a whole list of priorities. This is important to do this and learn this and tweak this. And nobody gave a shit, and... Nah, we just make the same thing and we won't care learning about it. Ugh, what do we want to do that for?
Yeah.
And it's just disheartening,
It is. Anytime you have a purposeless project or, like it's
hey,
not purpose. We didn't know it was going to be purposeless, right? But it was, in the end, exactly. It ended up being, right? So
yep.
That always hurts.
I know.
Yeah. So hopefully not.
I didn't care, really. I got a free trip to Germany, right? Hadn't been to
That's
Germany
pretty cool.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been out there.
No?
Maybe someday.
Yep. It's good.
I've never been to Phoenix either, so we'll see. And it's a nice time of year to go down there, so it's nice and toasty down there. It'll be like going back to Hawaii, if Hawaii was a desert.
Right. Okay. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got some news.
Shout-outs. News first?
No. We always do shout-outs first.
Yeah.
After 15 minutes of ranting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's a couple people that link to us, and so we always like that. We'll mention that real quick. One was my friend, actually, Mike Demler. He used to write for EDN, and now he's writing for Open Systems Media, which is
I've heard the name, I think.
Yeah, and he does or Open Systems does like real niche kind of stuff, like military electronics and stuff like that, like the magazines about that. So, anyways, he's got a new analog magazine, so he linked
magazine.
Us. Well, I think I don't know if it's a magazine yet, but there's at least a newsletter here.
Right.
An analog newsletter. And so he linked to our last show. So we like that a lot. And hopefully some of his readers. Yeah, thanks a lot, Mike. And there's another kind of real fledgling site. Oh, it changed since the last time I looked. It's called EE Forest. And one of the first posts was talking about the amp hour. So we really like that.
But I can't see the forest for the trees. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's Alex, and thanks to Alex for linking to us, and I was like that too. So, quick shout-outs, nothing fancy there, but
thank you very much, guys.
Maybe one last one too. That book we mentioned, what was it called? It was
Leslie Green's.
Yeah.
Book. Yep.
Yeah. So we actually
the Analog Secrets with a Z or something.
That's right. Yeah. No, it was SEEKRET.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, we crashed his site, and he ended up having to move the book over. But if people really like the book, we really encourage donating to him. So he has a donation set up.
Yes, please do.
Because
that took many years of his life to do that book. And it
was published, and it got. Basically, it's no longer
you can actually buy the hard copy book. So the other way is to buy the hard copy book from him. If you don't actually want to donate, you can get a real copy of it, and because he's already, he's got all these copies printed.
Self-publishing.
And,
something like that. Yeah, so definitely support him. That's great, and it's a good book. I've browsed through it, so I like it.
Right.
And speaking of education, you saw this post. This is one you added, right?
Yes. Well, there's that's the top one, right?
Yeah, the top one.
Yes. You can now get an online certificate course from no less than MIT.
Who?
Free.
MIT? Who's
MIT.
That?
I don't know. I've never heard of them. Some dodgy mob out in, I don't know. Where are they based?
I believe it's Montana Institute. No, just kidding. They're in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Yeah.
Right. And yes, MIT are offering. Actually, they will give you can get a certificate from MIT. You can apply online. You do the course online. It's an electronics course, and
it's the intro course. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the intro course, and I'm not sure how long it takes or anything like that, but certainly check it out. A lot of people on the forum have already signed up for it, and
yeah, I've seen this bouncing around a couple different sites, and it looks great. I mean, this is kind of following the Stanford model too. I mean, MIT and Stanford have both been doing a lot of open education kind of things like that.
Their videos, we've talked about them before, all their videos are online. And you can practically do the entire MIT EE course online with their videos,
Right, it's awesome.
It's just that you don't get anything at the end of it. Whereas this, they will actually test you. It's not like you do it and they give you the certificate. You got to sit the test, and apparently. So I'm not sure how that works, but sure they figured it out. So
yeah. Yeah, it's great. I love it. I hope this trend keeps continuing. I mean, it's
I'm not
like
sure how it works. Is it a live casting thing where you actually sit in with a live lecture with one of their professors, or how does it? Or is it just watch these online videos and sit the test? Is that?
Usually when I've seen these things, it's been actual videos, but
right. So the
couldn't.
videos are pre-done.
I haven't signed up for this. I've taken my intro course. I'm done. Thanks a lot.
Right.
But yeah, let's see. You can, you can just sign right up here. It's great. So
they've got a whole. I can't believe the amount of stuff they put into that intro course.
Oh yeah.
Have you looked at? I mean, talking about scaring away people who just came straight from high school and picked engineering and go, oh yeah, I'll do electrical,
it's a weed out
and then
class
you
for sure.
Have to do all this basic theory stuff, and it scares the shit out of you. Why can't you just build something cool in your first intro class or something?
Right. Yeah, and I've written about that before too, because there's a lot of kids coming out of high school that aren't necessarily electronics, but they want to be in electronics. Yeah. And that's how I was. So yeah,
and they jump straight into physics, right? And you jump straight into all the physics of it and everything else. And it's like, my, is this what engineering's about? Oh no,
right. It's tough. It's tough. Especially when we keep saying, there's not enough engineers. It's like, look at this class,
one of the reasons.
Yeah. Maybe you could ease it. I know. And there's a lot of debate about that kind of thing too.
Yeah, there is. I know.
But I've actually, I've been out to MIT. I've talked to people about this class before, and it's a big weed out class. This is how they separate the wheat from the chaff. And and if that's at MIT, that's some pretty darn good wheat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And they wouldn't hold back. They wouldn't dumb it down. They would. No. They would. They'll be doing. Maxwell from First Principles.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've talked to I tried hiring a guy out of there, and he actually did his grad work there, and he was telling me about when he was TAing classes like this.
TAing?
Oh, sorry. Being a teacher's assistant. So,
right. Of course.
It's just tough because you have these kids that are so smart and like perfect students in high school and everything.
Yeah.
And they're passing this class, but then they walk up to you and they're just they're just space cadets because to get through some of these classes you have to be a superior student, but not necessarily a superior electronics person. And so then the real learning begins in labs.
Really,
right?
It's got nothing to do with practical engineering. It's theoretical physics and theoretical engineering. There's a huge gap between those two. And
this is very important in its own right. I mean, it is. I mean,
of course,
we both took courses like this. It was, but you're right. When it comes to day-to-day stuff, you're not going to be you need to have rules of thumb.
Like I said, I haven't used an integral in anger in 20 years. In the business, right?
You said?
In anger, yeah.
Well, it's always in anger, right?
But you use the concept of
here?
it.
DX, what?
I know.
Yeah.
But if you go back and teach it, or you go into the physical side where you're actually doing research and stuff, it's important. You've really got to nail that stuff. But otherwise, it's just garbage in, garbage out, really.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this interesting book. I mean, I've talked before about Dan Pink on here, and I'm a real big fan of Dan Pink's stuff. He wrote Drive or a bunch of other innovation type books.
Yep.
But he has this new ebook out, and I was reading it the other day, and it was talking about turning the one way to innovate is to kind of turn things on its head. And he was giving this example of a teacher that did that, where the guy basically the kids came into class and he didn't do anything the first day, and then they went home and they watched the lectures, and then the next day they came into class and they were still doing problem sets, but they did the problem sets in class, and then the kids went home and the homework was actually to watch the lectures, and then the next day they come back in and they all work together on stuff, and just how that's a really interesting model, and this is kind of feeding into that too. I mean, it's like the newest version of this, the online version, is that watch it on your own and hopefully work together with people. But the older model, like the weed out class at MIT itself, is definitely the sit in class, get lectured at, and then go home and crank on homework, right?
Yeah. Well, isn't Dan Pink's model to turn everything upside down, do it differently? Is that the way? Because you sent me one, and that was the gist of it, right? Is to do the opposite of what you think you should do.
Oh yeah. That was. I think I did send that to you, didn't I? Yeah.
Yes, you did. Yeah. You must read this; it'll change your life, Dave. Yeah. Okay.
So I just do everything backwards. Yeah.
And that was the idea of this. Dan Pink's,
that was one of the many ideas, but
right. Yeah. Do everything upside down. Do the opposite to what you would normally do, and the opposite in this case would be not to do all the theoretical shit, it'd be to build a MakerBot or something, you know?
Or,
or
design a circuit board straight on the first day.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. Yep.
I like it.
Blow something up, you know?
Yeah, blow something up. That's what I like. Make an LED light up. You can start with that, right?
Tear down something, you know? Do something different rather than...
Yeah. But anyway, maybe not in MIT. You know, they have their traditions. They're cranking out some good people still. So until they stop doing that, I think we'll probably have to take our back seat and just sit here, Dave.
And just
just yap on about it.
Fair enough. Have we covered off that bingo square?
I think so. Yes.
Excellent. We've got another bingo square, marketing.
Yes, marketing and possible
and
shonkiness with it, right?
I think it's shonky, and a lot of other people do. I know it will appear that it's standard industry practice. Doesn't make it right, though. What it is it's from the forum. Simon on the forum, Simon, and he discovered this, I think. And Element 14 are buying up the KiCad keywords on Google, which is standard business practice, right? Buy up your competitors' keywords so that somebody, when they search for when they search for KiCad, your ad pops up. Fair enough, okay?
Right, and I totally agree with it up to that point.
That's...
Yeah, you probably would do the same thing if you advertised, right?
Maybe, right? Okay. But that's standard in the industry, right? Everyone does that.
Yeah.
And but that's not where they stopped. Not only are they buying up the KiCad keyword, their title is looking for KiCad ? And then they give you a fake URL that's element 14 or Farnell's, /KiCad or something, right? So it makes it look like if you click on that, you're going through and they're going to have info on KiCad for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But no. What? The URL is fake. There's nothing there. You click it, you get taken through directly through to surprise, Eagle, right? Which Element 14 own.
Yeah, go buy a license of Eagle, right?
Yeah.
Which we are, we like Eagle, but not necessarily the paying for it. So.
Yeah. So the problem I and many others have is that they're sucking you into thinking that there's something about KiCad on there. And
the shady part is if you type that in directly, and Simon talked about that. I had done this, and then I saw that Simon talked about this on the forum too. If you type it in directly, it's not a real link, which means that they hid the link underneath.
They hid the link underneath. It's some convolute. Yeah, it's a link directly to Eagle.
Right, because if you typed in farnell.com/KiCad or KiCad or however you say it, then if it still took you to that Eagle page, okay, I'm still okay with that actually too. Why not try Eagle? Try it free and then pay for it if you like.
It'd be nice if, here's a breakdown of the benefits of Eagle versus KiCad table or something. That I could probably deal with that, right? That's fine. But not when because people are searching for KiCad because they want to download it, try it out. They've heard about it. It's open source, right? They're trying to find it. First hitting Google. So what are they going to do? They Google it. First hit takes you through to get no information on it. It dilutes the effectiveness of Google. You search for something and you expect... The reason Google got so popular is because it was so good at putting the stuff you wanted first.
Yeah, but that was an advertising thing too. It does have that slightly different off-color, search box. It is getting less obvious. But
they've got the graphic there with the link and the text. That's the deceiving part. And they haven't just done it for KiCad. They've done it for OrCAD and every other competitor.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So, it's just, it's not on. It's not on.
Yeah, it's a little shady.
Yep.
Well, like
Please
I've
explain
told people,
Element 14.
I would like an explanation
because everyone's pissed off. And you're not going to win any friends by doing this. Seriously, the dickhead marketing person who didn't think about this is,
Right, and it could be one person, and it could be,
Yep.
We're not saying it's a whole company. But
no, they're just following their standard deceptive marketing practices, right? And they've probably got a freaking promotion for it because they met their KPI for this month because they got X link throughs,
Yeah.
Bastards.
Well, I would say stick with KiCad.
Absolutely.
Look for the real link. I don't know. I always look at the URL myself anyways. I guess that's why it's deceptive here. But
everyone looks at the URL of what they're visiting, and there it is,
right, 'cause you don't want to go to,
in
like,
the graphic.
girls.org or something like .xxx or whatever the new domain name is. Yeah. It's like, okay, I probably don't think that one is...
Yep.
That's not going to be a CAD program. But
so somebody's actually gone to the effort to make that graphic to embed that fake URL in the ad. So they've deliberately done that, and they're deliberately targeting a small-time, open source tool. It's just, no, it's not on. It's bad enough when you do it to your competitors and you've got a deceptive URL. To do it to the little guy, to kick the little guy in the nuts. Come on.
Yeah.
Not happy.
Well, I've been using KiCad lately. Did I tell you about that?
No. How's it going?
Yeah. So this radio project I've been working on.
Yeah.
I ended up deciding between going for speed and going for having a project. I went for having a project. I was thinking about going for speed and just doing like a Arduino and a wave shield and simple. And,
right. Yeah. Of course.
Just trying it out. But I was like, no. You know what? I need to learn more about microcontrollers. So I'm actually I'm mid layout right now.
Sweet.
Yeah, and KiCad is actually not bad. I mean, like, I know a lot of... I had started making videos about it, and then I kind of got off track.
Yeah.
But, I found this great tutorial. It's just a printed one, and it takes you straight through. And, I've been making footprints, or not making footprints, making schematic symbols, and got my micro in there. Ended up using a ATX Mega, which is the same one used on that.
Yep.
It's used on the Gabotronics, what's that little, you know what I'm talking about? That, what's that called?
I think I do. I can't read.
Something like that. It's the one that plugs into the proto board. And then also that CEE I'm working on, the C is, that also is. So, yeah, it's great. I'm mid-project.
Excellent. I'm going to have to give it a go. I need to find time to learn all these packages because I want to move away from Altium. Because they're
you're kind of going through the same thing, right?
Yep, yeah. I need to pick a new package, and it's sucked in element 14. I don't think it's going to be Eagle.
Yeah,
because I don't like your deceptive marketing practices, and I don't like how you.
That's weird because before what you were saying, it seemed like you love them. It's so weird that you're just changing your mind right now.
No, I've been bitching on about their. Oh boy, yeah, I've been bitching on about their price breakdowns, the limitations in their sizes forever.
Yeah,
a few other people in the thread on the thread we're talking about here on the forum have bitched about that too, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's another comparison out there already. Erin, Robot Girl, if people know Robot Girl on Twitter, she actually did this. She already started a comparison, and she did some time lapses and stuff between Eagle and KiCad and Jita, or GEDA. Is it Jita? Do you say Jita, right?
It's actually Jita, yeah.
It's Jita, okay, yeah. Yeah, because you talked DJ before, DJ Delory.
Yes, I have. Yep.
Yeah, you had that video. Yeah, so great comparison, though. She's just kind of going through and seeing how she does it. It's a pretty nice little board, like a SOIC8 and some through holes, and looks great. LM317 looks like, so very nice. I like it.
That's what I want to do. I want to do a big shootout. I've said it before, but it's a huge amount of work.
That's a big, doing that kind of
like
stuff
a shootout
board
between
captures.
Yeah. And then you got to have a table comparing them. You got to have, make sure it's fair. Fair between packages, and trying to do it objectively, and
the best case scenario would be to like somehow like do a board and then wipe your hard drive and wipe your memory and then do it again in a different package.
Yep, exactly.
And then it would be fair, right? But
that's the plan, is to have a standard board and then create all the components from scratch in each one and lay it out from scratch in each one and then edit it in each one and revise it in each one, and and then ultimately have a big table of how ultimately I'd have to personally rate things, like how hard was it to create a footprint. I'd have to give it a scale of 1 to 10 or something
exactly.
like that.
You need like a rubric.
Right, yep. And it's just a huge amount of work.
It is. So kudos to Erin for doing this. And actually, she links through to Wayne and Lane, who they do open source hardware kits as well. And they've got another tutorial. So lots of tutorials to check out if people are interested in KiCad. And I've been pushing this a lot lately too. I mean, like, I think I just want people to do it alongside me so I don't feel, no one wants to do that, right? You don't want to be like, oh, well, I had this whole board I developed and now no one can see it. And that's what I did like that about Eagle, that they switched over to XML. The hope is that, it would become like a standard format.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think you got to kind of go to a open source thing, or else, if there's any kind of business advantage in it, then there's always going to be an angle, right? So
that's right. So I know. So my preference at the moment would be to use KiCad, certainly. I don't think Jita's an option. Jita is quite, from everything I've heard, everyone says it's quirky. It's really not nearly as polished. It doesn't use the whole IDE interface. It's very script driven and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, it's kind of like Penguin geeky. Yeah. Yeah,
it's really Penguin geeky kind of thing. And whereas where it's not nearly, it doesn't have the same as good a visual user interface as KiCad, apparently. So
that's tough too. Tying those things together, because I remember that when I started programming, I'm like, okay, when do I make graphics? And like that's actually a really long way down the line. Actually, when I was
on an LCD.
Yeah, well, I was like just programming like C++ or something like that.
Yep.
And like actually tying, you're all doing text-based and command line stuff.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right?
That's how you start.
And output is all text-based. And you think about how long it takes to actually get to the graphical side of things, where you're actually tying a graphic even just to a click action, that kind of thing, like in a Visual Basic. Like Visual Basic is a little bit easier. But
yeah, I mean, you have to use a library. You've got to use some sort of pre-done library to do this sort of stuff. Yeah, it's like if you've got a embedded microcontroller, you've got a little embedded LCD, a dot matrix LCD. To do that from scratch.
Yeah, that's true. You got to do like letter. You have to do BMPs of letters and everything.
Font rendering and everything. Yeah. It's a pain in the ass, right? Yeah. And it takes a long time to get Hello World on a dot matrix LCD unless you use a pre-done, library.
Right.
Of stuff. So, yeah.
Which you might have to pay for.
Which you may, Or you may have to tweak. I always find that the libraries out there for driving LCDs they're not what I want. They weren't implemented in the way I wanted. Or easy, They're just in some convoluted, weird system of C that I've never freaking seen before, because they're software penguin gurus, right? And they're doing things in C that I've never seen before, and really convoluted stuff, and it's all designed to be C++ and object oriented, and I don't want that. I just want one subroutine that just says write to LCD, and that's it. And they're never like that, and I have to rewrite them, or I just give up in the end and write them from scratch sometimes, because they're not what I like.
Not everybody complains about your coding, and
complains about my coding. Yeah, exactly. Well, why didn't you use the library? Well, I couldn't figure out how to use it. It was too convoluted. I'm not a computer software bloody expert and coding in object oriented and all that sort of stuff, and I just can't figure it out. So I don't want to learn that. I see no huge advantage for me to do that. So I just code the way I've always coded.
Yep. And I'm going to be that's why I'm doing my project too, is just to kind of, my coding is very kind of weak. So I'm getting into that.
I think I'm actually pretty good at coding. I'm just not good at all the complicated all that object-oriented, high-level, real huge system stuff. Design.
Well, all
stuff.
the low-level people they're all hardware people, anyways, right? If you're doing low-level, you need to know hardware.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, but I've done some massive programs in my time. I've done the 50,000 line programs. Yeah, I've done huge packages in my time. I've written entire packages from scratch, and So, it's not like I can't code. It's just that I don't code like a computer software major, And I think there seems to be a big difference there. Yeah. Because they're doing some, because they were taught all these weird software techniques that are in all the software design textbooks. And, I was never, I taught some of that because I took some software classes, right? So I know all about linked lists and all those basic concepts and all that sort of stuff. But, as I'm sure there's all these other much more complicated methods and ways to do software out there that I really haven't learnt before. So
yeah,
hence I don't use them.
One thing I've always been really very jealous about with software people is it feels like you can work anywhere. I mean, I know it's not realistic, but it feels like it.
No,
it feels like you could freelance and just do whatever you want. I've always liked that about like hardware description languages like VHDL and Verilog, because it feels like that's about the closest I'll ever get. But even that, you still need to talk to hardware at some point. I mean, you could write code all day long, but until you go flip some bits on, transistors and just you're not really doing.
I know people in the VHDL domain who just live in the soft domain. But all they're doing is writing test benches and doing algorithms and know.
But that wouldn't be me. That's what I'm saying. I mean, like,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. There's this article that was in the Harvard Business Review, or actually it's just a blog, I guess, but it was asking about like crowdsourcing labor and just like the future of employment. And I've been saying for a while that like I think even hardware wise, I think that over time you're going to see more and more people going away from corporations and going to freelance kind of situations, being an expert in a certain area, and then a lot of people contact that person. So if you're an expert with LEDs, right, go to Dave and he'll design you an LED board because he designed 14 other LED boards in the past year, and this is talking about crowdsourcing labor and if it's going to trump permanent employment as well, and I think it will. I mean, I don't know what you think about it, but.
Well, then it already has. You can already do that. You can already, with all these online specific job things, you can actually bid on a job online. I need somebody who's an expert at doing this, and of course, it's been taken over by the all the Indians and everyone else. They will
like consulting
outbid you
companies
every
out there.
time. Yeah, they will outbid you every time.
But that's not the kind of thing I really I think about it more of a relationship based. Hey, I need this kind of person. I would never go on those sites personally. I would because I couldn't compete.
Well, if you were a business, why wouldn't you? If you're looking for somebody who can do the job for the least possible cost, that's what business is, right?
Well, but I know the real
somebody
cost
who can
behind
do the
that.
job.
I
mean, that's. Of course, you want somebody you can trust too, right?
Right, that's the real cost.
If you're going out there for the first time, and I don't know.
Yeah, I guess if you need like a generic Java program, right?
Right.
Then Tata Consulting can hook you up, right?
Tata Consulting.
Well, that's like a really big design house out in
is
India.
It? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's just real. It's that's a very legitimate, very large.
Well, they're a car. The Tata's a car.
Oh, Tata Motors. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting the name right. Maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
But
okay.
yeah, they're a very legitimate consulting firm out of India. So yeah,
there you go.
But yeah, I think that this is a reality. There with one asterisk on it. I think that the big deal, at least in the U.S., Australia's already got this figured out, and damn near every other country in the world. But healthcare in the U.S., if you have to buy your own healthcare here, you're screwed. So if they figure that out, though, I think that you see this even more. So I don't know.
Right.
If I could do healthcare, if I got easy access to healthcare, see ya.
Yeah, right.
Analog Life LLC, like that's.
Well, it's not hard. You just pay for it, right?
Well, yeah, but
that's the
that's
US
that
system,
is the hard
isn't
part.
It?
Yeah.
Right. Is it that expensive?
Oh, it's very
right.
expensive. Yeah.
How expensive are we talking about?
We're talking like probably $700 a month for minimal coverage.
Oh, ouch! You can get $700 a year here for private health insurance.
That's the kind of
for basic
thing.
Private health cover.
Yeah, and it is a touchy issue around here. I get it. I mean, like it is in the U.S. It's a very touchy issue, and I don't want to get into it much, but I think that if it ever gets figured out, however it gets figured out, and I don't have to work for a company in order to get healthcare, because that is a big benefit. if that ever gets worked out, I mean, I think you're going to see a lot more people moving into the consulting space, because then it's more of a, one person here.
Okay, so you think that's a huge thing holding... I can picture that being a huge thing holding people back from doing their own consulting gig.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder in other, like in Australia even, I mean, do you see more people working freelance than working corporations, or are there other benefits that I'm missing out on? Even just ease of work, or, like self-advertising is another big thing, right? I mean, if you can't get that work, then if there's no guarantee of the work, then that's something big.
It used to be more advantageous to be a contractor here. Like, I was a contractor 15 years ago or something, and it was pretty advantageous, but then they changed the tax laws, and now it's not so good to be as in where you work through an agency or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's not very advantageous. But as far as working on your own now, it's the same as what it's always been, really.
Okay.
So,
yeah. And there's other benefits too, other than like the availability of work. There's also the social situation, but you even see I read about this thing the other day. It was about shared workspaces are popping up a lot of places, because so many software people were working out of coffee shops, but now instead of having a coffee shop where a lot of people go to work, they have a workspace where people pay to go, and then they happen to have coffee there.
Right. Okay.
It's just rolled in, and that's kind of because people don't want to just sit in their house either. They want to be able to get out and talk to people and be human. Yes, even software people and hardware people.
But that could suck away a lot of your time, though, and your focus.
That's true.
So you've got to be careful there.
That's very true. But at the same time, I mean, if you go crazy in your house, I bet, or if you sit on Reddit all day, right? That's a tough thing. I mean, I've talked to people who, it's just, you have distractions anywhere. So it's about where you perform best. And I mean, you get distracted by the forum,
concept.
right?
Having exactly, and the internet in general.
Yeah, right. That's my killer too.
Exactly.
So it's wherever you work best, and some people work best in shared workspaces. Some other people work in hacker spaces. Hacker spaces kind of
exactly.
They encourage that kind of work too, and I think that's smart. But wherever you work best, that's what's important.
Shared workspace. That's interesting. See, I don't think I could do it. Like, I couldn't share my lab with somebody else.
Hardware is a hard. Yeah. And if you've got to lug your stuff along, even because you don't want to leave your DMM somewhere. If you got to bring a suitcase with you everywhere, that starts to get wearisome as well. But if you had a workspace for when you were editing videos, right? Maybe that would work well for you. I don't know if you ever go to coffee. You don't drink coffee, so
no, that's right. Yeah, I'm not a social creature. Engineers aren't social creatures.
This wasn't. This article was not talking about. I am a freak.
Well, you're a bit more social than the average geek.
I know I am a freak. You're right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it would work for me though either. I don't know if it would. So if people out there listening have ever seen these, or if you work in a hackerspace, or if you just even go to a coffee shop, I would be very interested to hear consultants out there, or whatever people are doing out there, IT professionals. That's a lot of our audience, right? So yeah, whatever works. I'd love to know about it.
Speaking of which, the Sydney Hackerspace has moved.
Has it really? Where to?
Yes, it's actually closer to me now, so I'm going to have to go there and visit.
Yeah,
might even
definitely
become a member.
Well, hey. That is, as Jeff just said, he stepped out of the Austin hackerspace, didn't he?
Yeah, I know. He just left. He decided not to renew his membership, and I'm sure if I joined, I'd hardly ever go there because, well, I'm not a very social creature. Just
I think you are. Come on, man.
I'm not.
No?
Why do you think I talk to myself in a camera for?
That's true. You are a little crazy.
Boy. No, I am definitely not a social creature.
Yeah, and that's the stereotype, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Can we talk about startups?
Sure, let's do it.
Kind of, sort of on the same.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of startups.
This one's been on here for a while. Age Matters, apparently. You put this one on here.
I did. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, basically, the idea is that they did a study across entrepreneurs, and this is from Technology Review, which is another MIT thing, right?
Oh,
so,
right, yes,
MIT.
published by MIT, I see.
Yeah. Basically, though, it seems like a lot of the funding, in Silicon Valley and everywhere else, they always want to go for these hot new startups and everything. But they did this study on it, and it says research revealed that the average and median age of the founders of successful technology companies with real revenue is 39.
Wow.
Which is crazy, right? Because, I've seen The Social Network. I've watched all the...
Right, yeah.
It's just the
Which
press
is all real,
is
right?
focused, or like even Apple and Microsoft and everything else. There's a lot of big names that get all
the attention, and you think that's the norm.
Exactly.
Is that they're all, they all dropped out of uni and they're all 21 and they're all,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and basically the idea is that, as startups get more complex, so you think about like nanotech or what do we have on here? We have graphene we have on as one of the items on here. You don't just leave, high school and go work on graphene because probably you don't understand what graphene is yet or haven't even heard of it.
Usually it's somebody who's done something as part of their PhD or something like that, and then they've worked in the industry, and then they've had the skills and the contacts to start it. So that, I guess
it's interesting.
It's interesting.
It gives me hope. It gives me hope.
It gives you hope.
I got time. You're
Even
screwed.
I've
Sorry,
still
man.
got time. I've still got time. No, the average age is 39, right?
Right, exactly. And
there you go.
We found twice as many successful founders over 50 as under 25, and twice as many over 60 as under 20, which means that it skews higher. It means that the median is much higher.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah.
There you go.
Boom. I've got a bright future ahead of me, Dave.
Well, you could
too.
call my blog a startup, kind of, in a
sort
way.
Of. Yeah.
In a way. Well, I'm making a full-time... it's not like
I haven't employed
it's going to
anyone
turn into a billion-dollar business, right?
I doubt that, yeah. Yeah.
But do startups have to turn into that? Startups don't have to turn into huge corporations. They can turn into two guys in a shed.
Right, exactly.
Right?
And I think that's the real focus of it.
And you can be successful earning $1 million a year. Why?
Exactly. And that's like the middle. If you look at like the distribution, it's like a power law distribution where, the ones that they study are they were started by young people, right? The Apples and the Facebooks and everything else. And that is a big chunk. But then if you look at the aggregate, all the ones that really fill out the middle, that really give you that beefy, Pareto 80%, right? I just mixed metaphors or mixed. I just mixed
you did.
Statistical theories there, but that beefy middle percent, whatever. That is these established engineers, startups, business people, and they're starting companies, and they crank out revenue. They do. I mean, that's the rest of it. So, yeah, it gives a lot of hope. I like it.
It's good.
Yeah. And they're talking
a
about
startup doesn't mean that you have to get venture capital funded and turn into $1 billion business or flop, as the case may. Half of them flop, of course, and more than half.
Yeah.
Geez, how many startups with venture capital fail? It's a lot, and
right, and a lot of that betting too. A lot of that analysis they do is okay, well, I'm going to fund 50 startups, small startups, and maybe one will hit it big, right?
That's the plan.
It's a slot machine model,
because when you win, you win big, right? Right. And you fail a lot, but if you get that Apple or that Facebook or something, then you're huge, But the return on your investment is massive.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So this is a great article. I highly recommend reading it. It's great. Interesting follow-up to that, though, is talking about the Silicon Valley side of things. There was an interesting kind of... it's not interesting. That's the wrong word. It's
noteworthy, is it?
It's noteworthy. That's a better word. Yeah, it's sleazy, really. There's just back and forth, and they're talking about these Silicon Valley, like, wonks, basically. They write about startups. Yeah, like policy wonks or startup wonks.
What's a wonk?
Look at someone who analyzes stuff. A wonk.
That's a term I have not heard before.
I always hear it as policy wonk. Maybe I'm...
okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong about that. A studious or hardworking person. There we go.
Oh, right. Okay. Well,
wonk.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wonk.
Yeah. A person who takes an excessive interest in minor details.
No, according to WordWeb, my dictionary just popped it up. It's usage is in North America, of course, and it's an insignificant student who is ridiculed as being affected by boring boringly studious. What is? Huh?
Yeah, see,
An
your dictionary
insignificant
stinks.
student who is ridiculed as being affected or boringly studious. Wow. Ugh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyways, someone who's interested in the minutia, but basically, there's these people out there in Silicon
Anal
Valley.
retentive.
Yeah, and they they study startups and everything, and there's this whole culture around talking about startups, right? And being like gadget blogs and everything else like that. And the idea is like they don't. There's all these tech journalists now, and there's less of making stuff, right? There's so much focus on it because there's money in it now. And there's this one guy at I don't even remember what the hell it is, but basically the guy invests in companies and then he writes about it. And this is like an established model. It'd be like if Dave, if you went to like a scope company and said, "Oh, I want to invest in you," and then you go and do a worthwhile review of their scope once it comes out, and be like, "Oh, but look, my investment's doing so great, and now other people should invest in my fund." And it's just like, what the hell? That is sleazy as hell. And apparently, it's not illegal either. I mean,
Right.
So. Apparently that's how Silicon Valley works, though. I don't know.
Well, that's it's actually kind of smart.
I guess
in a sleazy way,
It's very
if you can
sleazy.
get away with it and don't care, then
yeah, exactly. If you got brass buttons, right?
right.
Yeah, and that's what it would take. I mean, there's I guess there's nothing wrong with it in terms of like because it's not public companies, you're not restricted, right?
Of course, yeah.
So it's not insider information or anything, and
that's right.
Technically, it's outsider information. But yeah, if you're investing in startups and then saying how great they are, and you have a big audience, I guess you can do that.
Right. Well,
and you keep
but
pumping
you've got to
this
have a big
garbage,
audience.
though.
That's the key, right?
Well, you have to have a big audience that keeps lapping up your garbage, I guess, right? I mean, like, you'd think after a while, if you keep picking losers,
they would catch on,
right? You'd think so, but maybe I think another problem is it's more of a culture or a culture of personality. It'd be like, I don't know. Maybe that's like for us. I don't listen to Chris because he knows what he's talking about, which is possible. I've heard that from people. Yeah, but if I kept saying the wrong things over and over again, then I'd hope people would stop listening to us. But
right,
if not, I would. And I started talking about how great these startups I've invested in are. I'd be a pretty sleazy person then. So
you're just jealous again because you're not.
Man, they're making so much
successful.
money off it, but they're not making anything. It's the same kind of thing. It's like they're scummy people, and they're just not making anything.
Scummy people.
That was another thing. You know what? This pissed me off. This is a rant. This pissed me off so much. I was reading this blog the other day, and it was talking about investing in scotch. I just started drinking scotch. I never really liked it. I don't drink much of it. My wife got me a bottle for Christmas, and I've tried it. It's like that. And there was this bottle this thing about investing in futures, or investing in the future and buying a bottle of scotch and then selling it for a lot more later.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And I wrote on there, I was just like, stop it. No, I want to drink this stuff, and you want to use it as an investment vehicle? Go invest in a friggin' distillery, It'd be like people investing in gadget companies because they want to make money. It's like, no, go give us start. Go on Kickstarter, you butthole. Like, just go away and take your prospecting money everywhere. I hate it. I hate it so much. Ugh.
Well, there's lots of parallel ones like that. The vintage calculator market, right?
Yeah.
I can't afford to buy the vintage calculator watch I want because they're so valuable.
They're hyped up, right?
They're so hyped up
that
they're... I would actually wear it and use the damn thing, right? For what it's
exactly.
No, people buy it and restore it and sell it for like $2,000,
Oh, man.
And the whole industry's just hyped up, and you can't afford to buy these things to use it and enjoy it like it was originally intended. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, same. Yeah, there's other vintage electronics like that too. I mean, like if you wanted, vintage radios, or
if you wanted an Apple
even.
One,
exactly, Apple One. If you actually wanted to program it, no, sorry, you're screwed.
No, you'll have to get one of the, you have to get one of the non-genuine ones. One of the kit ones.
Ugh, makes me angry.
Right.
Although,
granted, there were only 200 of those produced, so pretty limited.
But still,
yeah, I know.
still, man, that got my blood boiling.
Breathe in. Breathe out.
All right, so now I'm going to completely change focus and say to do the opposite.
Right.
Yes. So, China, right? There was this thing Tim O'Reilly had posted about. China, yes, China, bingo. But it was just a thing talking about the unrest in China and political unrest. And there's a bunch of pictures. And I'll link it in and people can look at it if they want to.
There's recent unrest in China?
Yeah, apparently. I mean, like, and they're like a lot of little things, right? But I started thinking about it and just how much that would screw up my world, your world, everyone's world in electronics, right? I mean, let's just focus on electronics. If China shuts its doors tomorrow, it's going to be... They're
not going to do it,
I know they're not going to, but I'm just saying,
happen.
If there was a revolution and not China today, but China tomorrow, right?
Right.
So my idea is, what do we do then? and maybe that there's even an investing. There's a idea that maybe you take a loss now and you start making a capacitor factory, because you think about capacitors, right? They're everywhere. But if China shuts down tomorrow,
this is Obama's new model, isn't it?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's thinking about like discrete components, but
he's not actually going to do it. It's all just hot air, right?
I think some of it is hot air, and it's not going to extend down to components, right? I mean, that's all I care about. If China shuts down tomorrow, we don't have chips because the packaging places are in China. We don't have passives because they get in bottom of the barrel prices, right?
Yep.
And what happens then? And maybe there's a business case to starting to do that kind of thing now, because because if something happens, either you have small runs and
there's hardly ever a business case for if something happens, just in case. Yeah. That's not how business works, unfortunately.
Well, I have no idea how business works. Come on, Dave. I'm an engineer. Come on. But maybe then there's business...
idealistic fool, you.
I know. But maybe there's a business model in having a junkyard, even, like an electronics junkyard, right? Because if it got bad enough, then people are going to be pulling components off boards. That. I was just thinking about it. And I'm like, holy crap, what do we do? I mean, right?
I can just picture you running around with your hands and clapping around. Holy crap, what do we do?
I know.
The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
I'm very easily influenced.
Right. It's okay. You're American.
I am. Yeah.
We forgive you.
I flip from thing to thing. Yes. But I think, look, we've talked about it before. There's real, even if you just take it to the non-extreme side of it, right? Then you buy Aussie or American or New Zealand in the case of those boards you got, right? Because you want to buy domestically. I was actually thinking about that, how you bought that board domestically.
Yep.
Imagine if there started to be problems, right? Those guys' orders, I mean, they maintain a business right now, right? But their orders would go through the roof if it was like what we were talking before. If you need to get a board in a day or two, right? Or if you need to get a board in 2 weeks or two when everybody else needs to get the board from the same place, then there's a business case in starting that now and having a domestic supplier. There's always a cost to stuff, right? And the cost of low cost components and boards from China is risk. There is risk in it. So, I don't know.
The interesting story with the PCB Circuit Labs in New Zealand, as soon as my video went live, they were swamped with orders from all over the world. They couldn't believe it. They were really
bonus
caught,
for them then.
Yeah, I know. They were totally caught off guard, and they had all these people wanting to get boards done, and they were swamped. They couldn't keep up. So if you got if you didn't hear from them straight away, that's why.
Yeah, right.
That's why. Which proves that there's people out there willing to pay a bit of a price premium for a good quality product and make that that anti-China sort of stand. I guess you could say.
Or FSM help us. It means Dave actually has some influence on people.
Well, I just talked about it and
I know.
gave
sometimes
my
it's
personal
just
preference and
putting it into the light, right? I mean, like sometimes people don't even know it's there. So that's that's true.
Or people might not have even thought about it before. They might thought, hey, that's not a bad idea. I've been buying all these cheap ass boards from China, and it's probably not a good thing in the long term. And
maybe someday you can talk. Well, go on down to Chris's junkyard and pull old electrolytic caps off of a CRT board.
Right, so your house is now going to turn into this huge, big pile of, it's mine, it's all mine, I'm hoarding it for Armageddon.
Well, aside from the show being up, I think I have to go. I think my wife is standing at the door with a machete in her hand, ready to chop me into little pieces for that.
And I have to go build my MakerBot.
You do? All right, well, good show this week, man. It was... I got a little
lots
worked
of
up.
Rants. You got a lot out.
I got a
lot of frustration.
It's a good therapy session, right? And next week, we just might have Bunny on the show.
We may.
Yeah. So we can ask him about his experience with, working with Chinese suppliers or Singapore suppliers where he lives.
Well, isn't he based there?
He's based in Singapore.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yep. So we'll talk to him about that next week.
Excellent. See you then.
Bye. It was a good salt of the earth kind of episode,
Salt of the earth, right.